Hey everybody, Christopher Sanna here, and I just saw the second attempt at revitalizing the Predators franchise, which keeps up with the trend of sequels and reboots being named in a way that makes it harder for you to know in which order you should be watching them. Hey guys, we're making another Predator movie, what should we call it? The Predator. This movie had an awful trailer, and honestly I had no interest in seeing it. I wasn't even a big fan of the previous movies, to be honest, but since Shane Black directed it, I thought, why not give it a try? He has consistently made good movies in the past, so maybe this one is gonna be good. And surprise, surprise! It was pretty good! I enjoyed this movie way more than I should have, to be honest. Instead of going for a dark and gritty Predator drama, they decided to go with a more fun, light-hearted, badass action movie, which I found surprisingly entertaining, to be honest. Shane Black's humor is more present than ever, and I feel like it is especially elevated by a very good cast. I was notably impressed with the shining star from The Host, Boyd Holbrook. He was in that movie. Yeah. That one. Originally I thought it was a weird casting choice because, you know, in these kind of movies you expect someone like, well, Arnold Schwarzenegger, big buff dude with a giant machine gun. But honestly, Holbrook's performance really did it for me. He was badass and cool, and he had great chemistry with the rest of the cast. In fact, it's a really well acted movie, everyone in it was good. Olivia Munn, Keegan-Michael Key, Trevor Rhodes, and all the others. What's also unique is that almost every single character is bad, and the movie lets you know it, but all of them have distinct personalities and characteristics that make you actually sympathize with this crazy group of people. It feels a lot like an ensemble, and by far the most enjoyable part of the movie was seeing multiple characters interacting with each other. And while the movie relies a lot on comedy, I feel like they did a pretty good job at making you understand that you don't wanna mess with the Predators. There are some very gory scenes where the Predators are portrayed as vicious, brutal, and fearless. I know there is one comedic scene where one of the Predators is basically the punchline, but look, this is a very similar case to Alien. You know, when something is so engraved into pop culture, it's very hard to make it scary, and I think they went with the next best thing, which is focusing on the action while showing that the characters still need to be cautious about the threat. That being said, this is nowhere near a perfect movie. I have actually quite a lot of issues with it. There were certain sequences that were really dumb and didn't make a lot of sense, a lot of convenient coincidences. Whenever they tried to have a serious moment or explain certain things, the dialogue was just awful. I also thought it was a stupid idea to subtitle the Predators and have them actually talk to humans at one point. That sort of killed the tiny bit of mystique that they still had left. From a filmmaking standpoint, nothing really impressed me. The CGI sometimes was absolutely awful, like at the end there's a close-up of the Predator and it looks like a cutscene from Resident Evil Revelations. Like, really bad. And having the Predator dogs was sort of pointless, like once they get to fight them, they just stand there. The doggos just stand still taking bullets, and at the end of the day, in the overall movie, it doesn't matter. They had no consequence whatsoever. I'm almost embarrassed to say that the positives kinda outweighed the negatives for me. Yes, it was a bit campy, but as far as summer blockbuster goes, I'd still rather watch this one again than Mission Impossible Fallout, which I'm not saying it's a bad movie. By far it has a better script than The Predator, but I don't know, I just had fun watching it. I can't honestly remember when was the last time that I sit to watch a schlocky action movie and had fun. Critics and audiences seem to be split down the middle so far, and look, I can understand a longtime fan of the series that thinks maybe this movie is a bit too silly and it's not played 100% straight, but neither was the original when you really think about it. But I can also understand people that watch this movie and thought that some of the scenes were so stupid that it affected their enjoyment of the movie. But when I see the joke police come in and saying, it's offensive, you shouldn't make fun of this, it just makes me sad. It makes me really sad. Sure, I completely agree that the movie kind of misrepresents mental illnesses, most notably with Thomas Jane's character, who conveniently has Tourette's only when it works as a punchline. Now, here's a funny thing. I wrote down basically a 3-minute rant, a good 3-minute of just me ranting about comedy and people's sensitivity and how we expect comedy to be predictable, safe, and relatable. And fortunately, I realized one thing, which is that nobody cares. So I'll move on. After talking way too much about a movie that people are going to forget even existed in a couple of years, I'm going to give this one a 7 out of 10. Or maybe a 6, somewhere in between. Thank you so much for watching. Insert bragging for likes and subs to boost my ego. See you on the next video. Ciao, ciao!